former champion Chris Benoit found dead in his Atlanta home along with his wife and young son. Police now treating the discovery as a double murder-suicide.
Cops saying in a press conference just a couple of hours ago that they found the wrestler hanging by a pulley on some exercise equipment in his home gym. They also found Bibles placed beside the bodies of his wife and his 7-year-old son. They were apparently killed in separate rooms. There were prescription steroids also found in the home.
World Wrestling Entertainment says Benoit failed to show for 2 live events over the weekend, and apparently at least one suspicious text message sent to friends prompted wrestling officials to send police to his house.
Given a few moments to try to sum up a friend's life, it's tough to do. On my way here, I just thought of what did Chris mean, and what did he stand for? What was he? What was the one thing that Chris was above and beyond everything else? And the one thing that just kept coming back to my mind was respect. It's what Chris was all about. He demanded it. He received it. It meant everything to him.
Hey folks, welcome back. Another new video. I know I've been making quite a few new retro wrestling videos lately, but this is one that had been on my mind for a while, and I know we're right around that period of the 4-year anniversary of when all this stuff went down. Nobody knows exactly, I think that they've have a few dates when some of this stuff happened, and we don't need to get into that. But when we all found out was June 25th, 2007. There's a couple things throughout my time as a wrestling fan that I'll always remember. And probably the number one thing of all time is the Owen Hart tragedy that happened in 1999, May the 23rd. But, when stuff like that happens, it's never easy for the family members or anything like that to tell them it's an accident. But it was, But the thing with Benoit, judging by all the experts that, the investigation and all that stuff, he went crazy is the only explanation, and he had brain issues, would be the best way to explain it. And I don't think, I know nobody in their right mind does things like what he did on that weekend. But I want to go back to that weekend because I remember it's one of those things that I remember very vividly. A lot of the stuff that had happened, because there was a pay-per-view that weekend. There were house shows the day or two before, and Benoit missed all that stuff. They said he had like the reports are that he had told them he had a family emergency, and that his wife was puking up blood and stuff like that, and he was real graphic with the people that he told, or he texted, or whatever the situation was, exactly what happened, And I remember they were talking about on Live Audio Wrestling, they did a rundown of the pay-per-view, and one of the hosts was asking, what happened to Benoit? He was supposed to be in the match, and actually he was booked to win the ECW championship that night. I believe, or I don't know if it was that night or, he was very soon supposed to win the ECW world title that night. And there was no real, like, I think I remember Meltzer saying, like, it was just very strange, you know, all the stuff that had happened. He heard it was a family emergency, and nobody had heard from Chris Benoit. And then, like, the night after that, you had the Benoit tribute show, and which was very hard to watch, you know. I mean, and the weird thing is, that whole day I had been working, and I had been away from the computer, you know, and it just got in, you know, back home, right before Raw started, right? So I don't know any of this shit. I don't even know Benoit has passed away, you know. And I put that, I see this, you know, the Benoit, you know, in memory of thing on the screen. I'm like, what the, you know, what's going on here, you know? And then all of a sudden I get on the computer and I'm like, you know, what the hell, how did this happen? All of his family is dead, you know. The last thing I thought of was the scenario that is presented to us as a fact. Now, I don't know, none of us were there that night, you know, that weekend that happened. We don't know exactly what happened, but, you know, odds are these investigators have nothing to gain by lying to people or making shit up. You know, we're letting a possible murderer, you know, that could have came in and did this, letting them go, you know. So, yeah, you know, and I remember I played a clip at the beginning of the video of Triple H talking about Benoit was all about respect, you know, and all of his peers and, you know, co-workers, the wrestlers in the WWE and, you know, previously WCW and stuff like that. They all respected the hell out of Chris Benoit, and he was one of my favorite wrestlers, no doubt. I mean, probably the thing that I always go back and think about, you know, which at the end of the day is no big deal, but it bothers me. It bothers me quite a bit. It still bothers me to this day that I have actually got a photo, and I guess I could put that up here on the screen, taken in 1999 at a Pillman Memorial show in Cincinnati. Actually, Dean Malenko's in the photo too. They were both in WCW at the time. I have a photo with Benoit and his future wife that he would go on to, you know, murder. Of course, Nancy's in the photo as well, who we all know is a woman. And I go back to that photo way too much anyway, but I mean, just the thought of having your photo with a killer, okay, you're taking your photo with a killer, and in that photo is also a person that he would murder down the line. That's fucked up, you know. And I think about that often, like, I don't know why, but that's just me, that's how I am. I'm like, that's pretty messed up, you know. But he was one of my favorite guys. I mean, very cool when I met him. Quiet, you know, didn't say a whole lot. Nancy was really not polite and talked quite a bit. But going back to what Triple H said, you know, about respect, that was the thing that really meant the world to him, that in wrestling. You know, he wanted to be just like Dynamite Kid, you know, the British Bulldogs. It's who he modeled his style after. At the end of the day, regardless, like, and that's the thing, like, I know he destroyed so much that weekend, you know. And I don't know if you guys realize this, Benoit actually had, I think, a couple of other kids from a previous marriage. It fucked them up for life, man. They're forever, the rest of their lives, are going to go around with that stigma. Their father, the killer, the baby killer, you know. Benoit's dad, I mean, the poor guy, I've seen him in videos and different documentaries about this shit. Messed him up forever. all the wrestlers, destroyed the wrestling business there. And I think, like, at the end of the day, it kind of helped it a little bit, because now you see a lot of this stuff, a lot more testing when it comes to concussions and stuff like that. So, but at the end of the day, like, it just put an awful stigma on the wrestling business. And Benoit himself has been raised, you know. We've all seen what WWE has done, and I don't blame him one bit, you know, for doing that. He has been erased from the record books. You can't find Chris Benoit's name on WWE anything anymore. At the end of the day, I mean, you know, even though a lot of people came to the defense of, you know, it wasn't his fault, he wasn't in his right mind, and I really think that's the case. You know, the poor guy had taken so many bumps to the head, he didn't know what he was doing, I don't think, and that's the one thing that we can go back in this situation and look, you know, and see. That's maybe the one thing that we can go back to and say, oh no, my cat pudding. One thing that we can go back to and maybe save, you know, some of the memories have been washing away, even though that sounds kind of foolish. But I just wanted to make the video and talk about it a little bit. I think people start already to kind of forget about that weekend. And as a wrestling fan, like, and I follow all this stuff. I mean, this shit was all over the news. All the wrestlers were going on there. It was the first thing was steroid abuse, which is, yeah, it's crazy. And at the end of the day, like I was saying, it was the concussion thing, and he had like his brain was really, really fucked up, supposedly. So anyway, I guess that's about it. I mean, I'm, you know, it's hard for me to go back and watch Chris Benoit matches now. I watch them, you know, and they're great matches. He has had some awesome moments, but it's all, you know, I mean, okay, you know, it's hard to talk about. I just wanted to do this video though, so people can remember, you know, one of the worst times ever in the business of wrestling, of sports entertainment. But anyway, we will have some more lighter subjects coming up on the Retro Wrestling channel. And please don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. Puddin', she loves us too. Puddin'. Yeah.